In a busy bank lobby, a smug employee burned the credit card of an elderly black woman, unaware the new regional supervisor was watching. This act of blatant racism would ignite a chain of events no one saw coming. What happened next will shock you. But let's start at the beginning. It was a busy Monday morning at Liberty Union Bank. Customers streamed in and out of the glass doors, the sound of clicking heels and muffled conversations filling the air. Among them was Jessica Turner, a sharply dressed black woman in her early 30s, carrying a sleek black briefcase. Today was her first day as the regional supervisor, and she decided to observe the branch incognito before officially introducing herself to the staff. As Jessica queued at the counter, she noticed a scene unfolding at the adjacent desk. An elderly black woman was speaking hesitantly to a teller whose nameplate read Chad McAllister. He was a tall, cocky-looking man in his late 20s, with slicked back hair and an air of self-importance. "Ma'am," Chad said, holding up the woman's credit card with a look of disdain. "This card is clearly fake. It doesn't even scan properly." The elderly woman, visibly distressed, clutched her purse tightly. "It's not fake. I've used that card for years. I just need to withdraw some cash to pay my bills." Chad snorted and waved the card dismissively. "Sure you have. But we don't tolerate fraud here. I'm going to save everyone some time." He pulled a lighter from his pocket, flicked it on, and held the flame to the edge of the card. The woman gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Jessica froze in shock as the smell of burning plastic filled the air. Chad smirked, dropping the charred remains of the card onto the counter. "There," he said smugly. "Problem solved." The lobby went silent. The elderly woman's hands trembled as tears welled up in her eyes. Jessica felt a surge of anger rise in her chest. "What the hell are you doing?" she said sharply, stepping forward. Chad turned to her, his smirk fading slightly. "Mind your own business, lady," he said dismissively. "I'm handling a fraudster." Jessica's tone turned icy. "Handling a fraudster? You just destroyed someone's property in front of a room full of witnesses." Chad shrugged. "Whatever. It's just a piece of plastic." Jessica locked eyes with him, her voice cutting through the tension. "Do you always treat customers this way, or is this your special brand of customer service?" Chad laughed, a nervous edge creeping into his voice. "Look, I don't know who you think you are, but I've been here long enough to know a fake card when I see one." Jessica raised an eyebrow. "You're about to find out exactly who I am." Jessica pulled a sleek ID badge from her briefcase, the polished surface catching the light. She held it high, ensuring Chad could see every letter of the title, Regional Supervisor, glinting beneath the fluorescent bulbs. The effect was immediate. Chad's smirk vanished, his face draining of color, as if someone had flipped a switch. "You're the supervisor?" he stammered, his bravado crumbling. Jessica nodded once, her expression steady, calm, and resolute. "That's right. And I've seen enough to know this branch has a serious problem. Follow me." A hush swept over the lobby, the murmurs of curious employees and stunned customers filling the air like an undercurrent. Jessica turned to the elderly woman, her tone softening. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry for what just happened. Please wait here while we resolve this." The woman nodded, her tear-filled eyes reflecting both gratitude and disbelief. Jessica turned back to Chad, her gaze sharp enough to cut glass. "Now," she commanded. Chad, visibly shrinking, followed her like a reprimanded child as she led him to her office. The walk felt interminable for Chad, each step magnifying his discomfort. Behind closed doors, Jessica rounded on him, her composed exterior barely containing the fire simmering beneath. "Do you have any idea how unacceptable your behavior was?" she demanded, her tone firm and unyielding. Chad fidgeted, his words tumbling out in a weak attempt at justification. I thought the card was fake. I was just trying to protect the bank. Jessica's brow furrowed, her disbelief palpable. Protect the bank? By humiliating a customer and destroying her property? That's not protecting anything. That's negligence and prejudice. Chad's lips pressed into a thin line, his defensiveness rising. I didn't mean anything by it. It's just... She looked suspicious. Jessica's eyes narrowed dangerously. Suspicious? And what made her suspicious exactly? Her race? Her age? Or was it just easier to assume she didn't belong here? Chad swallowed hard, his silence speaking volumes. You've not only violated this customer's rights, but embarrassed this institution, Jessica said, her voice climbing in intensity. Effective immediately, you're suspended pending an investigation. You can't be serious, Chad protested, his tone bordering on desperation. Jessica crossed her arms, her gaze unwavering. Do I look like I'm joking? Clean out your desk. Returning to the lobby, Jessica immediately spotted the elderly woman sitting quietly on a corner bench, her shoulders hunched forward, as though carrying an invisible weight. The woman clutched her worn purse to her chest, her downcast eyes scanning the floor. Her defeated posture spoke of a long history of battles fought and too often lost. Jessica approached with a warm, reassuring smile, her heels clicking softly against the polished floor. Ma'am, she said gently, crouching slightly to meet the woman's gaze. I'm so sorry for what you experienced today. We'll make this right. Please follow me. The woman hesitated for a moment, her expression wary, before nodding. Jessica extended a hand to help her up, then guided her to a private desk away from the bustling lobby. She pulled out a chair for the woman and took a seat across from her, opening her laptop and logging into the bank's system. Let's take a look at your account, Jessica said, her tone professional, yet kind. She worked quickly but thoroughly, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she navigated through the account details. Within moments, the issue became clear. It looks like there was a simple clerical error, Jessica explained. Your account was flagged due to a mistake in processing a recent transaction. There's absolutely nothing wrong with your account or your credit card. The woman let out a shaky breath of relief, her eyes widening. Jessica leaned forward, placing a fresh, activated credit card on the desk in front of her. This shouldn't have happened, she said firmly. Here's your new card, and I've waived all associated fees. Additionally, I've credited your account with $100 as a gesture of apology for the inconvenience. The woman's hands trembled slightly as she picked up the card. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears. Thank you, dear, she said, her voice thick with emotion. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. Jessica reached across the desk, gently touching the woman's hand. No one should ever feel that way, she said softly. And I promise, this branch will do better. You have my word. The woman's gratitude shone brightly in her tearful smile, and Jessica knew this was just the beginning of much-needed change. By the end of the day, the story of Chad's suspension had spread throughout the branch. Employees whispered nervously, wondering what the new supervisor's arrival meant for them. Jessica gathered the staff for an impromptu meeting. Standing at the center of the room, she addressed them with a commanding presence. What happened today is unacceptable, she began. Our job is to serve every customer with dignity and respect, no exceptions. If anyone here cannot meet that standard, this is not the place for you. The room fell silent. Jessica's gaze swept over the faces of her employees, some nodding in agreement, others shifting uncomfortably. Change starts now, Jessica continued. I will be holding mandatory training sessions on customer service and diversity starting this week. Together, we'll rebuild this branch's reputation." As the employees dispersed, Jessica returned to her office. She glanced at the bank's mission statement on the wall and smiled to herself. Today had been a battle, but it was only the beginning. She was determined to transform Liberty Union Bank into a place where no one would ever have to endure what that elderly woman had experienced. And Chad? He never returned. Jessica ensured that justice wasn't just a one-time event, it was the new standard.